for IDEC, and I was like, how in the world did he get all these guys together and ladies, such a motley crew that, you know, without him it's like, whoa, okay, I don't know. I don't know how he did this, but I guess since Donnie was in charge, then everyone just knew Donnie's gonna tell me what to do, and we know what to do, so we're just gonna do it. And when I first started helping organize aid stations for the different events, I sent out an email, and it's like, to, you know, maybe 30 people, and then nobody answers me. So I'm like, I don't know if they're even gonna show up, because Donnie's not here. And then I get down there, and I'm worried that they're not gonna be there, and there's like 8 people there before I get there. It's like, oh, okay. So Melvin, he's our oldest volunteer. I won't say his age number, because he'll get mad at me. But he said, we never answered Donnie, we just showed up. He knew we'd show up. And I was like, oh, okay. But I still like to answer, and it's still the same problem. We're different that way. I want to answer, but that's okay. So, just gonna say a little bit. Most of the people know most of the stories. Some people know part of the story, and some new people don't know any of the stories. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of each. We grew up in the CD, so up on 23rd Avenue. When we were kids, it was the old fire station was still open. And that was one of our favorite things, to watch the fire trucks zoom by, and we could watch them go. And I think that's kind of how Donnie started liking the fire department. We would come down here every day. Our grandfather started this store in 1911. So our roots in this community are deep. We still run it today, just as long as I can. That was actually, Donnie even left me a note to say that. It's like, of course I'm gonna, so it's okay. Our other side, the Marhing family, our grandfather started his business in 1910. He started a maritime business, and helped the men from China work on the ships, and they were the merchant marines. So he'd sell them their gear, and the store was big enough they could stay overnight before they'd go down to the docks in the morning. He also got them safe passage home, so they didn't have to worry. People used to ask how come we liked R&B music, but it's like we grew up in the CD. What else are you supposed to like?
Yeah.
Because someone's like, why do you guys like that? Donnie would always say that he thought people thought he was too ghetto. But that was just part of his charm. That's just how he was, and you knew it. What you see is what you get. He's not going to play games. He's going to tell like it is, if you like it or not, probably. But his heart was such a big heart. And he could be kind of gruff, and I think maybe more for the first group of kids that he helped take care of. But they didn't know any better. I said when he'd make them, like, you know, pork and beans and throw some hot dogs in there, and that was dinner. And I asked Kate, I'm like, did you guys, does that bother you? He made it. He goes, no, he fed us. I was like, okay, as long as you get to eat. And when they were older, maybe 9 years old, he would teach them to get back to community. So they would learn first aid, and they'd practice on each other, and I won't say the other bad things, they would chase each other, but Donnie kind of instigated that, and I think that was just something that kind of stayed since we were kids. Because he only had me to pick on, so then he had all you guys. So Donnie started IDEC in 1968. He was still just a kid then, we were kids. But by the time he started helping the kids in the neighborhood, he was maybe 10 years older than them. Maybe not even that. So he might have been like 19 and they were, you know, 10 or 9s. So the kids now, the first group, I won't say how old they are, but they're older than a lot of people here. No, half the people here. But there's also still new kids that are coming to IDC, which is really amazing. He would really like that. So his philosophy on working in the community was different than a lot of organizations. He wanted to take kids off the street, just like everybody else does. He wanted to make sure that they're safe and educated. He wanted them to be street savvy, not just some kids that don't know how to do anything and they're going to be in trouble as soon as they walk out the door. But he wanted to take them off the streets, teach them how to get back to community and be a good person, and then put them back on the streets. Because they were the ones who would help the community, the next generation. Because even he knew that we're not going to be around forever. So I thought that was really interesting that he put it that way. He had a close relationship with the Seattle Fire Department. Dr. Kopis, who ran Harborview Hospital and Medic 1 for 35 years, was his mentor. It's like, who's that kid who's always hanging around and not really sure. But now that I know Dr. Kopis better, I know that he's actually very strict and wouldn't just take anybody on. But he could see Donnie's commitment and thought, okay, I see something in this kid. He's passionate too. He wants to help others, and there's no agenda. He just wants to help people. So they got along really well. Dr. Kopis would come by. So when they first started IDEC, Donnie painted it all black. And then the inside, of course, all red. Because he's Chinese. But the police were like, what is going on in there? So they'd go by and, like, turn their little, on the car, there's like that lamp. They like do a spotlight in there, looking at him. It's like, just hold it. I don't know. But Donnie was the kind that eventually he could win you over. Because you knew that he'd help you no matter what. And Dr. Kopis was I'm not sure the word, but liberated Donnie's first fire department radio when he was still young. He said I could say that, so I tell that story sometimes. But Donnie was the only one with a true fire department radio, only civilian ever to have one. So IDEC still has one today, which we really appreciate, you guys. He was our historian. He knew everything. And so some people would come in, we still have stools in there, and I apologize because people trip over them all the time, but we were like the barbershop. And if you hadn't been around in a while, you could go shoot the breeze with Donnie. And he could tell you what's new, what's going on, or just hang out if you don't want to just hang out. He helped everyone. He believed that everybody was equal, and he didn't care who you were. He always treated everyone with the same amount of respect. Okay. We still have people who were formerly drug addicts or homeless that come by and pay their respects to Donnie and Natalie, because they said that he helped them get clean and was supportive, so that meant a lot to them. Just wanted to mention that Captain Gray up at Station 6 just retired. He was always really supportive. He worked there 20 years, so worked many years alongside Donnie. And I just wanted to wish him well. Heard that he's already was off on a bike trip to Whistler, so good for him. I'm probably leaving stuff out. I'm not sure what else to say. Just wanted to thank everybody for coming, and it's really lovely to be back in community again. Since this is our first time since COVID. It's been a weird 3 years, but appreciate everyone who's still working in community, and especially our fire department family for taking care of the slack that when Donnie's not here. Usually you'd have your guy on the scene already. I remember one of the battalion chiefs told me he never came on a run without Donnie already being there. My favorite myth is that Donnie knew all languages. But we're born and raised in Seattle, so he wasn't. And I don't know if Firefighter McCann still. You should tell your story, Aaron. Okay. Do you want to tell your story? It's my favorite ever.
Oh, I'm funnier. Hi everyone, my name's Aaron McCandless. I work on Ladder 1 here at Station 10. I knew Donnie for several years. I was in the ambulance business before getting hired with the fire department, so we were on a first name basis. And Donnie is really an incredible man. This is really nice to see everyone turn out today. Thank you, Connie, for having us. One of my favorite memories, and this happened more than once. And after happening to me, it was kind of funny to kind of stand back, let the new guys try it out, and it would happen to them. So a lot of people got to experience this, but we'd be treating a patient, and there's a lot of the time there's a language barrier. So I took French because I was going to go into business, and I've used it like once. So we're treating a patient, and Donnie's standing right there, and Donnie, what is this guy saying? And Donnie looks at me and goes, I don't speak Chinese. I speak English. I said, okay, cool. Well, let's work on this. And get the language line dialed up. But now with all the apps out there, it's. That was one of my memories from Donnie. And you know, Donnie was always such a good guy. We had fires down here, especially early on in my career. Donnie was always here before us, and he would tell us where to go. We were just chatting about this back here with Chief Scoggins. In the alley like this, you know, smoke would be coming out of a window by the street, and he'd say, "Come all the way back here, go in this door, go up the stairs, and you'll be right there." Didn't make sense from a firefighter's perspective, but man, Donnie knew the ins and outs of all the buildings down here. He was tied in with the community more than I think any of us ever will be, and he was a great man, and we miss him every day. But thank you, Connie.
Thank you. Told you could tell it better than I could. So, in closing, just wanted to thank everybody for coming today, friends and family. We love you, and thank you for your support. Just want to say that Donnie's legacy is really the kids that he helped raise. The two girls here are medical doctors that lived in this unit. I'm sorry, they're not here, but they lived in this unit. Megan and Melissa, they're amazing, and they both try hard to come back and work in our community. Sheila Sue is a nurse. Her sister, Marcella, is going to medical school. There's counselors and teachers. Where's Angela? That all have wanted to follow in Donnie's footsteps and continue working in community. So that's really what it's all about, is to help each other and do the best we can. I mean, all of us put together still are really not Donnie, because that's just something you do out of your heart. It's a passion, because after he passed, people say, who's going to be Donnie? It's like, nobody. Who's going to do that? You can't pay someone to work 24 hours a day and be in danger and do it for free, actually. So just appreciate you coming, and thank you so much.
Does anybody else want to come up and say something? Open it up for a little bit. Yeah.